Hey everybody, this is Brian from Breaking Down Security. Honestly, last show of the year ever, special episode. We do our end of the year podcast with podcasters. So this year we had a number of people get on Zoom, and we basically talked about our hits and misses for the year. What we hoped was a positive experience, and just general banter between everybody. It's not safe for kids' ears, just to let you know. It's going to have an explicit tag, so if you've got small ones, you might want to wait until they're not in the room. One thing I wanted to announce before we start the show here, there's a conference going on, and I probably should have had this booted up ahead of time, but last year we talked with Sebastian from Hack in the Box in Amsterdam. So this year they're giving us the same option. Excuse me. So if you are wanting to go to Hack in the Box in Amsterdam in spring of 2018, and who doesn't want to, seriously, if you go or get a ticket, which they're available now, you can get early bird pricing. You can get 10% off by doing a discount code called Breaking Security, all one word, BRAKEING Security. At registration, they'll give you 10% off. So let's see. So he's got an announcement. If you have an interesting talk or fancy visiting Amsterdam in the spring, of course, you can submit your talk. The CFP is happening until the end of December. So if you are interested in doing and going and speaking at Hack in the Box, they still have their call for papers open until the end of December, so 31 December. And submission details can be found at cfp.hackinthebox.org. And if you early bird prices are also until 31 December. So, after that, you still get a 10% discount, but it's even more of a 10% discount before 31st of January or December. So, definitely check that out if you want to head over to Amsterdam for Hack in the Box. So, gonna get right into the show here. So have yourselves a good holiday, and we'll talk to you again in 2018. All right, so we've all gathered together here at the end of the year to enjoy one another's company. So,
Are we recording?
Well, yeah, we're recording now.
That's what the little red light means.
Yeah.
It
says recording. Yeah. So we're going to do the Brady Bunch style. I'm at top middle. So this is Brian from Breaking Down Security.
This is Amanda from Breaking Down
The
Security.
Cthulhu thing is killing me. Oh my goodness. Okay.
It's awesome though.
All right. So let's start in with John. Please introduce yourself.
Oh, hey, hello. So I'm John Svazic from Purple Squad Security.
Okay. And Nate?
Nate. That's me. I'm Nate from the Iron Sysadmin podcast.
Okay. And middle, we have Danny.
What's up? Danny from Rally Security, and all of my views and opinions are exactly that of everybody on my podcast. So
Oh, wow.
I speak for all of them all the time.
Yes.
Excellent.
Since none of them showed up.
All right. Of course, Ms. Maleef.
I'm Tracy Maleef. I'm also...
Every time.
How the hell did you get my last name right and you couldn't get Tracy's? Like,
I wrote yours on my hand. It says Svazic. I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable, Miss Tracy.
That's fine. Yes, I am the InfoSec Sherpa, and I am between podcasts at the moment.
Okay. So you're looking for the right fit on your podcastery.
Yeah, I told my husband I want him to learn how to do the heavy lifting part so that I can just sit and talk. So we'll see. Well, that's a goal for 2018 to get a podcast up and going.
Very nice. Okay. Middle left for me, Ms. Berlin.
Oh, hey, it's Amanda from Breaking Down or Berlining Down Security.
God. All right, and last but not least, Joe, please.
Ich bin ein Berliner Down Security.
Tear down that wall. I'm Joe Gray from the Advanced Persistent Security Podcast, and I promise the show's going to come back. It's going to get edited, and it will come back. I promise.
Is this going to be like the Duke Nukem Forever of podcasts, or the Half-Life 3 of podcasts?
I'm not sure.
Hey,
Okay.
Duke was finally released, okay?
I
Only
know.
took, 14 years or something?
Yeah, and Half-Life 3 is going on about 13.
I see what you mean now. I don't game. So for me, I guess it would be, is this going to be another Tool album?
Or Chinese Democracy, GNR for Chinese Democracy. But yours, unlike Chinese Democracy, will not suck. I always enjoy listening to your show. So we had this last year. It seems to be a mixed bag every year, which is great because we have a number of different people, different podcasts on. It's really nice to have everybody come together and discuss. So the only thing that I think we mentioned before we started recording, Miss Tracy, I'm going to just say Miss Tracy, apologize. Miss Tracy wanted to do hits or misses for the year. What was a positive or a negative for everybody on their respective shows or professionally. So I'm gonna cede control of the microphone to Miss Tracy and let her start.
Well, I would say I have two big positives for the year. So first of all, I got a job in infosec.
It's about time.
Yeah. So yes, I successfully made the transition from librarian into cyber analyst. So I started in July, and I'm thrilled, and I love it. And it's just everything that I wanted, so I'm very happy. And the last week, I passed the GSEC.
Yay!
Very nice.
That's
Awesome.
awesome.
Congrats.
Thank you. So yeah, I have a lot of positives this year and really no negatives, so I'm pretty psyched.
Very
Good,
cool.
good.
Very cool. I don't know who else wants to go. Ladies first, Ms. Berlin. How about you?
So things this year for me?
Yeah, hits or misses.
Oh gosh. So the book was a complete and total flop. Nobody bought that.
It's sorry. I'm sorry. I tried. So
No, the book's going really well. That's been out since April. And
You mean this book?
that book?
That's literally like right next to me,
Yes.
like on my desk. Yes.
I was gonna run out and get a copy of the book just to hold it up on the podcast tonight, and I just didn't get around to it.
I brought the ebook, so I don't have.
I had my first.
You could hold it
keynote that I
digital.
gave.
Yes, in New Zealand.
No, that my first keynote was in Nashville.
Nashville, right.
Which got me the talking spot in New Zealand.
Wow,
So that was another thing. And what else should I say? I got a new job because of the book, and I've been on the podcast. I've been on Breaking Down Security for a whole year.
Yay.
Yay.
That's one of my losses.
Oh.
Damn.
We're interviewing for a new position. I wonder if Miss Tracy's available.
Can I, Amanda just reminded me of something. Can I jump in with one more positive? Sorry, I had three. I thought I had three.
Yes.
So yes, I've been asked to be a keynote speaker in South Africa.
What?
Oh, I read about that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's
When is that?
June. So it'll be their winter time, but their winter's like 50 degrees, so it's not a big
Oh,
deal.
yeah.
But it's going to be
cool.
a librarian and just like online information professional audience, and I'll be doing introduction to infosec topics and things like that.
Very nice.
I'm super excited about that. So I had 3 great things happen this year.
Fantastic. All right.
Very cool.
Eeny, meeny, miny, Joe.
Yeah, this was a really busy year for me. I went to my first DEF CON, spoke at the Recon Village, B-Sides Vegas, keynoted Hacker Halted, was just on Security Weekly last week.
That must be nice.
It was really fun. Spoke at a lot of other conferences, had a successful year at work, and won the DerbyCon Social Engineering Capture the Flag.
Yeah, that's no mean feat, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So Vegas is up next. So I've already set my sights.
Oh, really? How do you train for something like that? It's not like a marathon.
I get to do a little bit of that stuff for work, but not a whole lot. So honestly, I just take the flag list and run it against random companies and see what I can find.
Oh, okay.
Because it's purely non-intrusive. I'm not
Right.
weaponizing it. So I just see what I can find and then 86 it when I'm done.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Nate.
Me, I feel like I'm at my yearly review and I have to think about everything that happened all year and try to recite all the highs and lows.
Think about what you've done.
Just top
Yeah, right,
three.
right.
Top three.
So, I mean, unlike the rest of you, I'm a senior sysadmin, not in infosec. So it's really my day-to-day work is a little more boring, I think. Nothing caught fire this year.
That's definitely.
We've had good uptime. From a show perspective, we finally had our first real guest on the show just 2 weeks ago. We had Dave Kennedy on. That was a fun time. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
So that was fun. Our show is only like a year and a couple weeks old. So, coming along.
Very cool. So, I don't know. I haven't listened to your show. What do you talk about a lot? I mean,
It's okay. I don't think I've listened to yours either. So no offense.
That's okay. That's okay.
There's
I
so
don't
many nerds. It's hard to keep up,
Yeah, no. So Iron Sysadmin, like about a year and a half ago, I was looking for systems style podcasts to complement all the infosec podcasts that are out there.
Sure.
I didn't see a whole lot of them. So me and Jason, that's Xenophage, who couldn't make it tonight, we decided to start our own podcast. We're both sysadmins with like a security bent. If you know what that, we're sort of dual purpose, if you know what I mean. I work in a small team. We don't have a security team. So, that's sort of the focus of the show. We talk about some news. Usually it's a little bit of security, a little bit of technology, and we usually pick up some kind of a main topic. Like we've been talking about a lot of Docker lately. With Dave, we talked about sort of operations and systems blending. It was pretty good discussion.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's sort of Iron Sysadmin in a nutshell.
Very nice. Okay. Mr. John Svazic.
No, yes, sir. Let's see. What's new and exciting about this year? What was a win? I showed up for every episode of my podcast, so that's good. No, actually, the podcast. Hit and a miss. The hit is I started the podcast this year. The miss was I started and stopped another podcast this year. So I used to run the Head in the Cloud podcast, and then about, I would say, 12 episodes in, I realized, oh shit, we're doing mature rating on this one, just because.
Okay.
But no, I realized I was pigeonholing myself. I was like, okay, let's shoehorn everything into the cloud because that's going to be really great audio. And I realized, oh, damn it, this isn't going to work, and cut my losses early, and then decided to spin up Purple Squad instead. Okay. So yeah, little bent of red and blue. So I call that a hit.
Okay.
Oh,
Danny.
Holy God, where do I start?
You've been on a ride this year, haven't you, Danny?
God, man. I'm sitting here listening to people speaking in South Africa and winning contests, and I'm like, I haven't done anything. And then I think about it. So this year we started. Nate actually is on my board of directors, as I call it, for DEF CON 610.
Wow. You're getting fancy, man.
Board
of directors.
Board of directors. It's him, Heave Hacker, and Xenophage are my board. We started as Lehigh Valley InfoSec a year ago. I modeled it after NullaSec. That is run by Biko and Joe and Andrew Case down in New Orleans, where I gave him one of my first ever talks. And we decided, let's have it in the bar. Let's have some talks. Let's do some projects. And it got a lot better over the past year. And just our first official DEF CON or first official meeting as a DEF CON group was this past one in December. So that was a thing. RallySec has just gotten better and better. We've added, I think Oscar was an ad this year, or was he? I can't even remember. But also welcomed Ms. Bat into our fold, so she is now a full member of the podcast. So we have her. A lot of great guests. We've had, like, our guests have just been through the roof. Jack Daniel, Dave Kennedy, Mauer Jake, Pyrotech, just everybody coming on and having a great time. Like, it's been really awesome. And let's see what else. Dumped the job that was causing a lot of my depression. Hence why I started my at infosanity.org last year, or this year, and that's geared towards helping hackers with mental health challenges. So we have infosanity.org, the Twitter, the Slack room. Dumped the job that was causing a lot of my own issues, and happy to say that about 4 weeks ago, I started as a security evangelist with Squirrel.
Yay.
Yeah, right. Squirrel holler. I just
Didn't they
so
just get bought by somebody?
There are rumors about Amazon.
There are rumors that we've all heard the rumors. So let's move on.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring it up. I know
rumors are just rumors.
Okay.
And they made me say that. So
That's the official company stance. Is that it?
Officially, unofficially.
There is no
It's the
official
unofficial.
company stance.
That's what they told Danny.
You may contact our marketing department, and they will give you our official stance. My official stance is, I read the same articles y'all did, and I don't have anything.
Okay.
But so starting Squirrel, and spoke at B-Sides Philly for the second year in a row, and had to dump out on Circle City, but I resubmitted for this year because my kid got sick. Let's see what else. Oh, and we bought our first house, which is where I am podcasting from right now. So this is the first official time I'm ever podcasting from the new digs. So
Very nice.
Yeah, there's been a few things, but I'm not going to take up all the rest of the time with all my shit.
Okay.
I need to come back up for a new and improved meeting. I went to it. I went to like your third meeting when it was Lehigh Valley Hackers.
Oh, I wouldn't say improved is a strong word.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, really, a bunch of us just get together and drink and talk about computers.
But we're also super family friendly too. So
Yes.
I'm sure
Most
some
of the
of
time.
you are aware of at BIA Scilab. You guys know BIA, the cool 10-year-old who.
Oh yeah.
Who does
Yeah,
like encryption stuff and
Oh,
She
was in the hacker family. No, the thing at DEF CON.
Yep.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
she is DEF CON 610 through and through. She's been there for over half of the year that we've been there with her dad at Heave Hackers. So she comes from us. So
she
awesome.
just celebrated her birthday at our last meetup.
Oh,
She did.
She brought cupcakes.
Bourbon
Aw.
cupcakes, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think that was for us. They had like super sugary sweet things for the kids.
Right on.
Yeah, and we got a whole bunch of stuff planned too, man. We got a bar crawl CTF coming up in the spring.
We really got to build that thing, man.
We actually have to do things about it.
Oh my God, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, so we got a whole bunch of stuff planned, man, and I spent this whole past year just really in the community and really like just having a great time. It's actually y'all were the ones that saved me from just a depression of shitty work, and now things are looking up. So, but yeah, man, and I got career highlight got to be on BreakSec. I can't believe I forgot that.
Don't do that.
No, it's true.
No. Don't apple
I mean, of
polish
course,
me.
Mr. Lynn wasn't there, and that was kind of a bummer. But
Sorry.
Yeah.
no, it's okay.
I can't remember what I was doing.
You were making slide decks for Who Slides Anyway.
Well, you and Mr. Betcher wasn't there either, so it was Danny and Ms. Megan. Ms.
Yes, Megan, I love her. Love her to
Wu.
death.
Yeah.
I have to say, making slide decks and not having them used at DEF CON was probably one of like the coolest things ever.
Well,
like, oh, sorry, we can't use yours because
They're too offensive?
They're too bad. Yeah.
Oh,
When
my
we
God.
discovered there was a 10-year-old there, we're like,
None of mine were applicable at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen these slide decks, and I cannot unsee
however, however, they were utilized at Lehigh Valley InfoSec. They
Oh,
were
really?
Oh my God! I
At
had
the
to
little
give
girl's birthday party?
them. No,
Yes.
no. There were no minors in attendance that day.
Not that time, but no, they actually made me do one of yours, by the way, and
Oh
it
my.
involved like the one with the sand coming out of the thing.
Yes. That's my
Yeah.
favorite
No,
gift ever.
They made me do another one after you had left, Danny. So yeah, it's
You're welcome.
That's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, being able to run our own DEF CON contest and being able to work with Amanda and knowing my personal moral lines for once, I was like, wow.
I set the bar really low.
And in her defense, I said, do your worst, and holy God,
she delivered.
I love you so much. Like, you made me question a lot of things about reality and like my own moral compass and where I think the world is. Like, you made me think.
For any listeners that are really interested, I'll send you the slide decks. But no,
Don't.
I take no like
Not safe for work, not safe for kids.
No mental health.
They should be seen.
You're not even safe for pets.
Oh, wow.
No, my dog saw one that had a gaping appendage, and like she hasn't walked right since.
Wowzers. All right, then.
She wouldn't even come to my office anymore.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I think I was the last one to do any kind of hit or miss. But so I think a big hit for at least the show, the Slack is just kind of rocketed off to God knows where. I mean, it's gotten crazy. Very active. I took it from like having 50 people on there and nobody was saying anything to we've got over 900 people in our hallway con now, which is great. A lot of active people talking about all kinds of stuff. We started doing training this year. We did a Python class with Matt Domko. We did some web app sec stuff with Miss Sunny Ware. We just finished up our intro to reverse engineering course with Tyler Hudak. That went really well. Patreon it increased in leaps and bounds, and then we turned it off for a week, and then we turned it back on after they came to their senses and didn't try to screw everybody out of that, which was really great. Let me see. We've had tons of great people on. We've had Adam Showstack. We actually did a deep dive with Preston Pierce, who's actually on our Slack now, talking about recruiting and stuff, which I really liked. We've had Dave Kennedy on. I think Dave Kennedy's been on everybody's podcast, which was
Except for mine.
Oh,
No, I haven't had him yet either, Joe.
Listen, all you have to do is mention it, and he'll be just jumping up and down and say, "Yes, I will be on your podcast."
Exactly.
Yeah, we did feel special for half a second until he showed up on Sysadmin.
Oh.
Yep. I mean, I literally made a jab at Danny about having Dave on this show, and Dave wrote me and said, "I'll be on your show."
Oh wow.
So yeah, it's not hard to get.
You're a poor Dave. I thought we had something special.
Oh wow.
Dave, if you're listening, I'll talk about Mr. Robot if you come on my podcast.
Dave, if you're listening, Hornsby is welcome on my podcast.
Oh, like Bruce Hornsby?
And what about the range?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I know he torments Chris with it.
Yeah. So, I passed my GCIH, my 504, so I'm going to try to be a SANS instructor. I'm not sure how well that's going to work out, but I have to do my murder board on January 3rd. And, of course, I think
you guys mentioned murder boards. What's a murder board?
Okay. So,
wonder the same thing.
Yeah, if you score high enough on your SANS exam, which I think is over an 85, and I scored an 85 on my 504, they invite you to come and become a mentor instructor and to make sure that you're not completely out in left field, which from what I've heard, they've had some issues with instructors in the recent months, and they've, they're always hungry for more instructors. So what you do is you have to go through 10 slides or teach a concept or a topic. And, it can be about Nmap or it can be about incident response or whatever. And during the murder board, from what I understood, they ask you questions. It's like being in class, so you teach something. And if you're good enough, then they let you be a mentor, and you can teach classes in your local area, and then you kind of rise up the ranks of SANS if you want to. So the murder board is basically I sit with folks like McDouglas and Brian Simon and those folks, and they are mean to you basically because they want to kind of gird your loins for the rigors of being a SANS instructor.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Well, so having been through the process, there's 3 distinct students that show up. You may not see all 3 students, but basically you have the one that's just going to be disruptive for the purpose of being disruptive.
Yep.
You're going to have the one that knows more than you.
Yep.
Or that has like 7,000 questions for the purpose of their own edification.
Yep.
And basically, they might ask you a legit question like, can you better explain how buffer overflow or SQL injection or whatever you're covering works? Can you explain this concept? Or it might just be something, completely in left field to see how well you handle it, like water on a duck's back.
Yeah.
And that's for anyone that's about to go through their murder board. That's the biggest thing I can emphasize is just, when they come at you, it's like water on a duck's back. Let it roll off.
Well, mine would probably be like Daenerys's brother when he passed away with the molten gold. So yeah, that's probably how it's going to end up with me.
Spoiler.
Yeah, Bueller. Spoiler alert. So yeah, I mean, about the only miss is I'm still working for the current company I'm working for. So yeah. They listen to the show. I love you guys. You're great.
That's cold, Brian.
No, it's just I've been doing the same job for 3 years, and it would be nice to branch out a little bit. So I'm trying to work on the more project management level stuff, maybe try to dab my toe into a bit of security architecture at my current job. So I'm hoping that they will let me do that, because doing vulnerability management for 15 years kind of gets old after a while. So I'd like to build on my career.
Overrated.
So let's change the subject. I'm available to be a guest on podcast. Okay, Miss Tracy.
What am I, chopped liver?
No, you're all right. You're all right. So let me ask a question. So there were some news stories. I know we're not going to do any predictions because I never like doing predictions, but there were some real big news stories this year. And without getting political, what were some of the big news stories that came out that struck anybody this year with regards to security or privacy or GRC related items?
There's one just came out today that
I don't know what you're talking about. It's been a real quiet year.
There's one came out today, and I've never even heard of this thing. It's infosecurity-magazine.com. The headline, I don't know how much fun it is, but every single American household exposed in massive leak.
Oh.
It was a data repository from a company called AlterX.
Oh, yeah. I read some about that, yeah.
That partners with Experian just had a cloud leak.
Okay.
I guess you could say it was raining data.
Oh, that was the one with the S3 buckets, right?
That's funny.
Well, okay, so that's
like pouring from a bucket.
Yeah, but I mean that's one thing we've heard about. A lot of S3 buckets seem to be one of the bigger breach issues this year, right? I mean, it's like permissions on S3 buckets, or oh yeah, they had all this data inside these S3 buckets and people made off with them. Why are S3 buckets the new hotness with people storing things in them, and why can't we seem to secure them? Is it a lack of knowledge on our security people, or is our security people not even getting involved with that, you think?
I mean, so in my experience, the S3 buckets are pretty, I think by default, they're actually locked down. But in order to give anybody access to the files you're putting in there, I think a lot of people just make them read-only accessible to the world. And that's where you end up with these issues. It's really easy to do that. It does give you a warning when you do so. At least it does now. I don't know if it did in the past.
No, that was the biggest problem is when you opened it up beforehand, there was no warning. It was just like, oh, you want to give it to the world? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Because they assume you know what you're doing.
They assume that if you're changing permissions on your S3 bucket, you know what you're doing. Why would they think that?
Let me tell you something. I'm pretty okay with my skill sets, right? But I recently moved my website from like Google domains over to, or from Git over to AWS. Nothing has made me felt dumber in a very long time trying to configure those goddamn buckets. I can completely see how they leak like a sieve because I was like, bucket, this, bucket, that. Okay, fine. And for all I know, somebody's using it to serve porn right now.
Oh, yeah.
I hope they are.
Is that one of those same sites that Amanda showed her kids?
Oh my goodness. I don't even know what that's about.
A little famous.
It's a Twitter conversation.
Oh, okay.
So to piggyback about the S3 buckets, I think, the underlying issue with this, I would think, is probably related to the lack of communication between security and DevOps, and the fact that DevOps wants to think they know everything. We like to think we know everything. We don't like to listen to each other, and the fact that the collaborative relationship's just not there.
Right.
But we do know everything. Sorry.
Yeah,
it feels similar to the dumpster fire that is the Internet of Things, that it's the rush to market.
Really? Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Because cloud is the hot buzzword in all the, the C-suites. And so it's, in order for the companies to profit off of that, they need to act quickly. So they're probably rushing things through that aren't quite 100% secure. And that's okay. Well, we'll fix it in post.
Well, that's how DevOps is, right? It fails forward. But, when you don't realize that you're failing until it's, the horse is already out of the barn, then, now you've got to drop everything and fix it.
Yeah, I mean, this has really been a problem. I mean, as all of you, I'm sure, are aware, in IT for the past, 5 years or so. Ever since cloud became a buzzword, you've got people who don't understand what they're asking for coming to your operations folks saying, the Sky Mall magazine told me that the cloud is where to go, so we need to get into the cloud. Get us into the cloud. It's cheaper. It's faster. We don't have to run a data center anymore. And then because you've got corporate level folks leaning on you, you just have to get it done because they expect it to be done. Half the time, they don't even know why they want it. They just want it because it's in the magazines.
Well, it's trendy. And it promises so much, but it's the stuff on the back end that you don't see that you actually have to have people knowledgeable in it. It's not another data center.
Well, can I share a story of what I used to do a lot in the law firms? I worked with attorneys for 10 years. We would get these impossible requests, and I would pick up the phone and I would say, "Hi, I'm calling to manage your expectations."
Go ahead, Danny. You had something?
No, I was just, didn't SkyMall go out of business? Shouldn't that tell us a whole lot?
Oh.
Listen, I don't fly much. For all I know, I use terms that are completely foreign to anybody.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that I really dated you using it, and I wanted that on the record for posterity.
Well, thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Danny. Thanks.
It's kind of like the incident response plan I was reviewing earlier in the year that made no mention of USB drives, but talked about floppies.
Floppies are dangerous. They're a real threat. Don't joke.
Floppies are dangerous.
I feel those things out all the time. And, you can tell by which industry you're dealing with if they get it or not. Because it's like, obviously they've been engaged or engaging our salespeople. And then they send us a questionnaire and I'm like, okay, look, we have a questionnaire that answers all the questions about our technology. They're like, no, we want you to do ours. Okay, how do I get to it? Well, you have to have this GRC login and we have to give it to you. And there's only about 8 million questions on there asking about whether or not it'll support our Windows 98 installations. And we're like, are you kidding me? And between banks and healthcare, they're the ones that the questionnaires obviously are from, like written on stone tablets from Mount Sinai or something, asking questions about, is your VAX work, mainframes compliant with some ISO standard. I did get that on a questionnaire once. And I'm like, yeah. And then you fill it out to the best of your ability and they still want to call with you because they don't understand exactly how everything works. And they think that I'm going to be able to tell them the answers. It's obvious that there are companies out there that either don't want to be on the cloud and are now engaging customers who are in the cloud, and they're either afraid of it or they don't understand it, and they want to have some kind of assurances that their stuff's going to be safe, which I guess is a good thing. But
it's somebody else's computer.
well, it's always been somebody else's computer. It's just you're moving the idea of the data center into yet another building, and they're like, oh yeah, we want to go to the data center and look at it. I'm like, we don't even go to the AWS data centers.
Half of AWS doesn't go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what about when you've got someone like the caliber of Walmart that comes in and says, "Oh, are you on Amazon? Yeah, they're a competitor of ours. Get off that cloud."
Right.
Right.
Well, you just have to tell them pack sand at that point, because it's not like you can just up and move your whole cloud installation in many cases. So.
Right. I think a lot of this stuff with the cloud, we always heard the story about the CEO of the golf course with the other CEO, and the other CEO has a CISO and it's like, hey, I just hired a CISO. What's that? That's just, they're supposed to do security stuff. Okay, cool. Where do I get one? Oh, you just hire one. And, companies bringing on a security team or a CISO just because their friends at other companies are doing it. I think we're starting to see that bleed over with the cloud.
Right.
I'm starting to think that I should be a CISO, because do you know how many lunches those people get?
Right, I know. Yeah, but you have to dress fancy and be in an office and stuff.
Yeah, but it's steak. Who the hell cares? I'll put a tie on for some lobster. That's fine. So people eat like kings.
Well, you don't even have to be a CISO. You just have to convince someone that you're a decision maker. Here's a trick I'll tell you. From one social engineer to another. On your LinkedIn, change your title from security evangelist at Squirrel to director of security evangelism.
Nice.
Your inbox will blow up.
Nice.
Chief evangelist.
I haven't had my business cards made yet.
If it works,
I will stick to my pretzels and pajamas.
If it works, Danny, you owe me a
pedestrian.
The only problem I've got with a lot of CISOs.
I think there's legs to this.
You should do it. You should definitely do that, though. But you're also going to have to become kind of the marketing arm of your own company at that. For a lot of CISOs, you're pretty much just the chief marketing officer assistant at many companies.
I'm very snugly in bed with our marketing department.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
How does that make you feel?
How does it make them feel?
Warm and fuzzy, honestly. I mean, it's not a bad place to be.
You're like 2 men in a 1-man sleeping bag? Is that how close you are?
Well, back to the cloud for a sec.
Hey!
Thank you. Thank you.
T-shirts? I got T-shirts.
Let's rerail that train.
I gave an introduction to infosec talk for librarians in October. I give a lot of these talks because just as a side note, I have a way of presenting the material how it immediately applies to the library world, since I came from that world. So I do a lot of these talks, and I try to spread the word. I don't like the E word, but yes, I try to Sherpa-tize the library world with security. But at the end of my talk, one of the first questions was from someone saying, well, can these cloud providers see your data? And I was fortunate enough to have, HypoWeb. He came to see my talk, and he was in the room with me, and I was like, well, yeah, they may need it. And I was giving examples of like, well, they may scan it for vulnerabilities or things like that, but they have access to your data. And this just blew her mind. And I finally just said, I'm like, well, what's in your contract? And it was kind of like, she was like furiously scribbling notes of like, oh, I need to look at this contract to know like what access this cloud provider has to our data. And I was like, yeah, like why don't you start there and do that? And I mean, I'm not in any condescending way, but I was like, yeah, like you do have, you're entering into a contract with them, and I just could see the look in her eyes of having that realization. So kind of harkening back to people not really knowing what they're getting into. So I was glad that I was there for her and brought up this question, because she was writing these notes down furiously and said that she was going to go right back to her library and checked the contract. And I said good, and then make decisions accordingly and know what's going on.
In my experience, it's sorry, go ahead, Danny.
Reading is really time consuming.
especially for librarians, right? So, I mean, in my experience, it's been sort of the opposite. I work in higher ed, and like 6-8 years ago, there was this like this mass exodus from on-prem hosted email, for example, to Google Apps for Education, right? And we're one of the holdouts. We're still running our own mail. We're still running our own local file services, all that stuff. And I've talked to other folks that are in my position at other institutions, and I mean, they don't care that Google can see their data. They don't even whether they know it or not. It wasn't even a concern. It was, I hate running email. I'm going to let Google do it for me. Or I hate running my file servers. I'm going to let Google do it for me. And, whatever they do with the data, I don't care.
Right.
Well, they'll care when their hard work, all the research that they do is stolen and used. Yeah, then they'll care.
Yeah, but so I mean, the downside is I bang that drum, like, hey, people can see your data. Oh well, we don't care, until someone comes along that does care, and then it's like, whoa, why are you putting our data in the cloud? Well, we told you. I tried to tell you, whatever. You know how that goes.
Yeah, it's there's just a lot of and the whole thing with the GDPR stuff over in Europe is just killing a bunch of people too.
I asked that room of people if they even knew what I meant when I said GDPR, and not a single person. Yeah, everybody's like, what? It's like, okay, like, so your homework, is to, I want you to after my session, I want you to look that up and see how it applies to your institution, because it might.
So Ms. Tracy, when you say librarians, you mean like you're not meaning like the librarians I'm thinking of in like elementary schools and stuff. You're thinking like what, law libraries or university librarians, like the big league?
Well, it depends on who I'm talking to. I mean, since I come from the law firm library world, a lot of those groups ask me to do talks. So you're talking about more your academic, corporate, law firm, government. Not so much the school librarians, but I mean, they still need it. But just a lot of them, the conference world in librarianship is very segmented. So, for the not necessarily public or school librarians, but I'm happy to talk to them as well. It's just that the circles that I'm known in from library world don't necessarily touch those. But I did actually have a over here, right?
You got a badass over here.
No. But I did have a one-on-one with the librarian at my local public library, because I saw that she was running a class about infosec, and I just saw the description that was written about the class, and I was like, again, not that I'm like, I'm not a wizened veteran, but I know enough that I was like, hey, this is what I do for a living, and I used to be a librarian. Can I give you a hand with this? And so what we wound up doing was I just sat with her for 2 hours one night after work, and I just went over stuff. And again, any opportunity, and I'm always banging this drum, is public libraries are vulnerable, and some of them have already been compromised, and they don't have the money, they don't have the staff. So I'm begging infosec professionals just to go and volunteer time. And I had 2 hours of just fun talking to this woman, giving her tips, giving her things to ask the IT department that handles the library, like just here are some buzzwords, not even buzzwords, but here's some vocabulary words that you should know, and then ask your IT department about it.
Yeah.
Do librarians have cons like we have? Like, I'd be so down for like a really weird library con.
Well, we don't
They're
call
very
them.
quiet.
No, actually, there's so funny story. Stop. That is not. Do you know how loud librarians are? Do you know how loud I am?
Quiet con.
No.
Start their own con with blackjack and hookers.
Sir, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to snort your cocaine at an inside voice level.
There's
So instead of having a lockpick village, they have a shushing village.
Right.
All right. All right, y'all are working my last nerve right
They're
now.
all, they're
Hold
all,
on so I can talk.
they're all in a big
Shushing at
conference
different
room,
levels
and
is
it's
like
all real
opening
quiet.
tumbler pins. And if you
He's
shush
gonna
at different
snap
levels,
and kill
then they
all
shut
of
up.
you.
They're all
Brian, say her last name again.
no.
A Dewey Decimal CPF.
Oh my God! Shut up, everyone. Anyway,
The opening keynote is everybody sitting in a room being quiet, and all of a sudden here.
And then we know Brian's there.
Fire alarm goes off.
Oh my God. You're all horrible people.
Okay.
anywho, we don't call them cons; they're conferences. And true story
Same
that
thing.
Professionals.
when I started to get into infosec, people were warning me about how much drinking goes on at infosec cons, and I'm like,
That's a lie.
clearly
It's a
you've
dirty lie.
clearly have never been to a librarian conference.
Oh, shit.
Where I've been to librarian conferences where we have literally drank the bar out of alcohol. So
DerbyCon is what you're saying.
That sounds like
Yeah.
DerbyCon. Yeah.
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 Yeah, so there's
You guys
there's really big ones. So there's the RSA equivalent that has 20,000 people or something like that. The one that I went to most maybe had maybe 5,000, and because there's so many specialties, there's also there's smaller ones. So it's kind of similar to infosec. There's a couple big ones, and then you have smaller ones because there's so many different specialties and things like that. And I have spoken at a lot of them.
So for those big ones, is it like RSA where you have the hottest new vendor in microfiche or something like that?
That is still a thing.
I can
But,
imagine.
I'm
yeah.
asking,
You'll
how we
actually,
celebrate boxes.
Yeah, the American Library Association, ALA, they have a huge conference, and their exhibit hall is gigantic. I went to the last time I went to their conference was just to go to the exhibit hall because you get all kinds of cool stuff. But yeah, they'll literally have library furniture vendors, and you sit in the chairs and stuff. Yeah. Because if
Guess
you're a
that makes
public
sense.
librarian, you need to shop for furniture. Now, that didn't apply to my world as a law firm librarian, but yeah, there'll be a lot of publishers there, and authors. And I got all kinds of cool stuff.
Very cool. They have
Yeah,
student chapters. Apparently in Quebec, they have an ALA student chapter. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was involved with SLA, which kind of messes with my mind now because it's Special Libraries Association, not service level agreement.
Yeah.
So every time I see SLA and I'm like, what? Worlds colliding. I'm like, oh, calm down, service level agreement. Okay.
Oh,
So,
dude,
so
Bill
taking-
Nye's going to be at the one in Denver in February.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
I hear he's a science guy.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's what the TV told me when I was a kid.
I've seen
Not to
some
be confused with-
great keynotes.
Not to be confused with John Nye, who is the infosec guy.
Oh,
Oh.
we're going to have him on the
He's-
show soon.
And he's also in Denver. So.
Very cool.
Exactly. So taking your mention of SLA for a moment, I shared a couple of links to the chat. It's tosdr.org. Basically, terms of service didn't read, just like TLDR.
Mm.
And I shared a link to the Google review. And I don't have the ISC squared CCSP, but I was studying for it for a while until I was pulled to do something else. And if you start reading that, one of the first things you're going to pick up is read your contract, read your SLA, all the above. I didn't see that, Danny. I'll have to take another look here in a second.
Danny's trying to show us his flair, his personal flair.
On the internet,
Oh.
nobody knows you're not a CISP.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Nice.
So, but where I was going with it was that if you want to take a look at the license agreement for a specific service piece of software or something you're using, you can actually go to this website and it gives scorecards for it. I actually heard about it on Michael Basil's podcast.
There's a lot of them on here. I mean, Rapid Share, Dropbox, Netflix, WordPress, Twitter, everybody. And they give you a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or not applicable. So it looks very interesting. Yeah. Wow. And it's in normal people terms so you can understand. So
Yeah, it's not in legalese.
it puts it in ways that I can understand them.
Very small words.
This is a great share. Thank you, Joe. I'm going
That's
to definitely
fantastic.
share this with
Yeah.
some people.
I like the number of thumbs down that Google has in their
Yeah.
terms of service here.
Well,
TwitPic is pretty bad too. So yeah.
Speaking of shares, I don't know where else we're going to go with the conversation, but has anybody...
Nowhere. We're not going anywhere.
What's that?
We're not going anywhere with this conversation.
Okay, cool. Well, then I'm just going to derail the shit out of this then.
all right.
Have fun.
When it comes to tribal knowledge sharing, which I hold at a premium, has anybody over the course of the year discovered particular Twitter accounts, people in the industry that you're like, holy shit, I'm happy I follow all these people? Anything like that? Like I made a bunch of lists about 2 months ago that got put out from Squirrel about just people I follow, and I was like, nobody's gonna care about this, and it was like one of their highest. People ate that shit up. So anybody discovered anybody this year? Accounts, groups, companies, whatever that you found particularly useful?
For me, it's not really so much Twitter, but I found, people have retweeted somebody's blog. I have added probably 20 or 30 good blogs to my Feedly the past year with just, regular information. One I post to our Slack quite a bit. Let me see. I think I posted one today. What the hell is it called? Y'all, I'll come back to me. I'll find it. I've got it in my my blogs here, but yeah, I've got like 10 of them.
I did just tweet out a link of a blog post I did of the top 50 women shaping information security.
Nice.
Awesome.
Cool.
You should click on the link.
No.
Do you get paid per click? Is that what?
No.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
It
Can you
smells
implant
like
a-
fishing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
can you implant a payload so I can use it in a
It's
campaign?
just Blogspot. It's not bad.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Should we go
Oh.
look up the terms of service for Blogspot?
Please do.
Oh, it's a good idea.
Eject, Goose, eject.
Oh man, somebody got yarn. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find the link on your feed, Amanda, and I'm seeing all your Hackers Santa retweets.
Yeah.
And somebody got yarn. I haven't got my present yet. I'm very
Me
sad.
neither. That's all right. That was another good thing that I did this year was Hacker Santa. That was
I
the
love you so much for
That's
that.
awesome stuff.
third year.
I did it last year with you too, and it was awesome. JC just got me the best present in the entire world. Said that for anybody who doesn't know, I forget. I was talking to like Sex Shell Philly or whatever, and he had mentioned like where there's a board hacker, there's a way or something like that, and then like hack the planet. I was like, I need it as a sticker. And JC was like, okay, well, that's what you're getting as a t-shirt. And then it was late, and I was like, oh, I'm never getting it. And then he refused. He told Amanda to not tell me that it was him, and he waited until DEF CON to be like, oh, that was me, bro. It was the longest control I've had pulled on me. It was all from Hacker Santa.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mine got delivered to my dude, but he's not responding to me on Twitter. I hope he liked it.
Yeah, I actually reached out to the guy who was I think he runs 614 Con, and I wanted to make sure he actually got the stuff from Adafruit.
Yeah.
Some of the infosec people that I'm sure were Hacker Santas don't advertise their likes or, keep them. And it gets a little rough. So, I mean, you kind of have to shoot in the dark, I think.
Not me. My OPSEC sucks, and I don't care.
Mine too. Yeah,
I
but
was
there's a
about
lot.
to say that's
I got a handful of people that would email me and say, hey, did this person say what they liked or anything? Because they have nothing on Twitter and I don't know what their real name is. Because I didn't require anybody to actually give their real name, but they had to give a deliverable address.
Right.
And it was interesting because some people had really, really good OPSEC.
Now, I hope somebody was lucky enough to get Joe as their Secret Santa, because that guy can find out anything.
I was actually about to say I didn't participate in Secret Santa solely because I'm so uptight about my OPSEC.
What a wasted opportunity, man. You could have really scared the shit out of your Hacker Santa. You're like, hey, man, I saw this is where you go get breakfast every morning, so I got you a gift card. By the way, nice drink.
Or better yet, just show up and like buy them breakfast in person.
There you go.
That would be kind of creepy.
That would be.
Yeah.
That would be pretty creepy.
I might go as far as to get a PO box in a distant land and sign up next year.
Oh my God! Listen, you have to,
It's
man.
pretty fun.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun, and I'm so happy that Amanda does that. Like, Amanda, dude, you just do so much for us and just the community as a whole. And you're so charming, and you're so goddamn funny. Like, I love you to death.
You're just saying that because of my tweet yesterday.
No, I don't pay attention to you. I just know that I like you. I don't like to, like, you know,
Checks in the mail. Checks in the mail.
Well,
Can you
thanks.
tweet something nice about me? What? Should I go look?
No, of course not.
My ego always needs a good stroke.
Oh my goodness.
No, but you are lovely, and the Hacker Santa is fun. Everybody should do it.
It is a lot of fun. I had 185 people this year.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Like 18 countries.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So next year you need to get a mailing list, and I'll help you do some fishing so that we can get some inside intel.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe you
So-
just put something on the survey as, hey, something I might like to have, and then, you know,
Click here.
and so what I don't
And grant
get
access to
is,
cookies.
yeah.
is when people
Gross.
because I warned everybody, like, don't fuck it up because I want to keep doing it, right?
Yeah.
No,
Like-
no severed heads, huh?
Yeah, like, no, at least deliver your like
It
it's
could
not
be a
that-
separate head. Just do something.
It can be a
It just
separate
has to be
head,
something.
As long as you give them something. And last year we only had 2 people that didn't, but then another person stepped up and filled one of those.
So are those people banned then from future?
Oh yeah, they're not allowed to do anything again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But they
Send
give
me
me
their
their
names, not
give me their home address. Like, what stupid hacker is going to give me their home address and then fuck it up?
Joe shows up with a muffin.
Yeah, like, listen, you better.
Send me their info. I'll be their Secret Santa.
I will
Oh,
take something off your porch.
oh.
What you need to do is say, look, I will give Joe Gray your name.
Yeah,
Do you want that? Do you want that?
I had contemplated just putting in there that if you don't deliver on a gift or, you know, tell me so I can, like, make other provisions, I'm just going to tweet out your address.
Not if they're in Europe.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
good. My API scraper will pick that up. Good.
By the way, pro tip for anybody who is doing this and has trouble finding something. Just because your Mark, I mean your giftee, has their stuff locked down doesn't mean their family stuff is locked down. That's how I found out a lot.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's hit that rabbit hole for a moment.
With help,
Now,
from my buddy, I forget what he has his Twitter name as. It's like at ninj something Joe. He's like he's a dude who OSINTed me for RallySec.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so like he did a whole docs on me just for shits and giggles for our OSINT podcast. And we were chatting and I was like, I'm in Secret Santa. He was like, what's their name? I was like, here you go. And he came back with all of this stuff. By the way, John from B-Sides Pittsburgh, I didn't mean to freak you out.
Oh my God.
Aw.
Well, I sent him a message going, hey, man, by the way, the gift I got you, I couldn't get a note with it, but it was me, and I hope you got it, blah, blah, blah. By the way, congratulations on your kid. And like
Nice underwear, you know, nice PJs. You know, yeah.
Yeah, nice PJs. So, but when I read the message back after I sent it, I was like, oh, I can see how that could be misconstrued.
That's not creepy at all.
It sounded more charming in my head.
I too like single malt IPA as well.
Yeah.
And those satin sheets look awesome.
it's just to throw a reference to DerbyCon. It's all about the craft beer. That's how you build rapport with people. You
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about craft beer, and then when you're in the booth, you do this number.
Nice.
just to make it sound real. And I've got a trick up my sleeve for DEF CON, but I'm not going to say what it is.
Tell me so I can beat you, bitch.
No.
In a metaphorical sense, not the literal.
I've told 2 people, and basically I know enough on them to where they'll never say it. They'll never peep. But actually, to go back to your point, I was looking forward to competing with you at Derby. But either way, speaking of that, though, just to echo, the amount of crap I found on my target for DerbyCon based on what their family was sharing was unbelievable.
Yep.
Between that and the guy who posted pictures of his badge on Facebook publicly.
I'm convinced my family will be the death of me.
Oh, yeah.
when somebody gets it up their ass to actually go after me, I'm pretty solid on my social media accounts. They're going to be the ones that get me killed.
Yeah. I think.
Hey, I'm going to show you a trick here. My mom used to post pictures of me to her social media all the time, but I've learned that if you do this right here into the camera, they won't post it.
That's solid advice right there.
and he broke his OPSEC to show us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you're on the camera, right?
Well, I can't say, I do this and not show you. I mean,
well, there are words for that action. You can use your words.
Use your big boy words.
It was more dramatic by turning on the camera. He proved a point.
Yes.
I mean,
we're an audio podcast, so they'll just have to, imagine what he did.
If I was worried about OPSEC, I mean, here's the thing, right? I'm on Iron Geek's site. I've been on YouTube, or I'm on YouTube for stuff. Security Weekly. My OPSEC is pretty much blown in terms of what I look like. I had
never actually seen a picture of you until you went on Security Weekly.
Well, your Twitter handle icons is you.
I'm a registered voter in Ohio, so my address is online.
Oh, right. I saw him at my first DerbyCon. I saw Joe at my first DerbyCon. I met him last year, and I didn't recognize him. He had changed so much for the better, of course. But I was like, he sounds familiar. Damn, I know that face. And I'm not.
Who is this guy?
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, it's Joe. Okay. And he looks fantastic. He started doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu or something.
Yes. I'm on a hiatus right now as part of my Kirby experiment.
Yeah.
I find it very counterproductive to eat like crap and then go do jiu-jitsu because
and work out. Yeah.
So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. So after Christmas, I'm going to solidify the diet, go back on paleo, and then get back to the jiu-jitsu. That actually leads me into one of the projects I'm working on for 2018. It's actually called the Hackers Jiu-Jitsu Network. And basically, for anyone who's listening that does jiu-jitsu, what we're going to try to do is schedule a time at gyms near conferences like DerbyCon, B-Sides Knoxville. Vegas, throw a rock and you're going to hit a jiu-jitsu gym. But various places to where we have a designated time and place for everyone at the conference to go and train and get a roll in to further build camaraderie.
Not just for dude bros, but everybody's invited, right?
Oh, absolutely. Jiu-jitsu is a very co-ed sport. Like if you're a female, you may end up rolling with a male if you're comfortable with it, or you may just roll with other females. It just depends on your comfort level. It's a very practical. From the perspective of self-defense, it's a very practical sport.
By the way,
from that perspective.
And
there's no striking.
At the other end of the spectrum, I like to have gin and tonic meetups at every con. So
yeah, I like that.
At
we did pizza and beer.
Black Hat every year. There is actually a meetup that's run by like Beaker and Jeremiah Grossman, I think. And it's a big hacker jiu-jitsu role. Either at Black Hat.
Same thing at Infiltrate in Miami.
Dave I tell.
Yeah, he's also a black belt like Jeremiah Grossman is.
So just so that I'm clear, so you can roll your own jiu-jitsu, but not your crypto.
Correct.
Okay, got it. All right.
And in both scenarios, it's all about the implementation, as we learned this year with the crack vulnerability in Wi-Fi.
Right.
Oh, that's right. Now back to everything's broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is broken.
Okay.
We're
So,
having some fun until you remind us of reality.
so Danny, you said everything's broken. So let's not talk about what's broken. Let's talk about stuff that's gotten better. I think that would be harder, right? Because we normally look at the negative in InfoSec. Is there anything that's gotten better?
I mean, things continue to get patched.
The only thing
That's better.
Except if you're Experian.
the only thing that's better is within our own ranks. I've seen more people speaking up and speaking out about, you have something to say, share your knowledge. Don't be afraid about writing a CFP. Don't be afraid about getting out there. I've seen more and more people hop on that. So if that's what starts the tide rolling in the actual industry and for companies, if we can translate how much we value our own internal tribal knowledge share to our clients somehow, there's promise there. But as far as actual good stuff, no, there's none.
I mean, if I may chime in for a moment,
No.
at least 4 of us on the show speak rather frequently. I know I'm speaking for myself in this, but I assume that I'm somewhat speaking for the other 3 of you. If you have a question about a CFP or you want someone to take a look at it, I mean, I just sent one of my upcoming abstracts to Danny for a review. And I've been talking to Tracy about it as well. It's one of those things, if you need to bounce ideas off of us, hey, do it. I mean, if you want some advice, do
Not
it.
me. I don't care about any of your stuff.
Oh wow.
Okay.
You don't care. You're an uninterested third party. That's what
Oh,
it is.
right. That sounds much better.
Yeah.
But I will say, caution with some people, make sure that you verify they're not on the CFP panel of the con you're going to submit it to, so you don't compromise the integrity.
Right. So, okay. I don't talk at cons, not because I don't want to. It's I don't feel like I have anything to contribute that I don't already do on a weekly basis.
That's bad logic.
Well, I mean, I technically give a talk every week.
Right, but not everybody sees you, and it might be a different crowd. Like, don't think like that.
I know, but I'm not interesting. I don't put out, applications.
That's not
right,
interesting. You should put out more.
You don't be the. I'll give you a piece of the wisdom that someone gave me. They told me this in regards to applying for jobs. I use it in the same context of applying for cons. If you self-assess yourself and say, I'm not qualified, you're absolutely correct. Go ahead and submit and let someone else make the decision as to whether you're qualified or not. The results will be
I don't want people to tell me I suck. So
well, they don't. They're polite about it. They say, "Hey, you had a talk, but it wasn't selected." And I mean,
we decided to go in another direction.
Right? Exactly. I mean,
I've gotten 10 of those.
we decided to go with the guy from Grimm, or it was between you and John Strand, so you got asked out.
Well, I agree with Danny that I feel like that is flawed logic, but I mean, it boils down to, is it something that you even want to do? Do you want to give a talk and all these other things are impeding you?
Yeah. And just to piggyback with that as well. I mean, I saw a lot of career progression this year. I spoke between 15 and 25 times. I don't know the exact count. There were a couple of months I did 3+, and I mean, it did wonders for my career because, the working as a consultant, other like companies that were looking for people, they would hear me on this. Like we had a client last year that they were fans of the Defensive Security podcast. They heard me chime in and say, "Oh, I just got a job at such and such." Well, they ended up signing for us to work with them. It gets you more comfortable talking to customers. It demonstrates thought leadership. There's a lot of things that come from it. I mean, speaking's not for everyone, but as long as, my key thing that I tell people, be passionate about what you're talking about and be somewhat authoritative. I mean, if you find a topic that you want to learn about, submit a good CFP. And if you get accepted now, you have to learn it or you're going to look like an idiot.
Sure. I mean, okay, so last year I had something I was going to submit, but after doing even basic rudimentary research on it, I found that it had been done about a major talk at DEF CON or Black Hat like every 3 years. And I was like, why? I'm not doing anything that hasn't been done like 4 times before. So I just abandoned it. I didn't even bother doing it anymore. I actually threw away the device I had. I was going to use it on. But so I mean, I guess I'm going to have to figure out something to put out there. But yeah,
I just think that lots of people offer their own, because you have your own different background and your own different way of explaining things and different viewpoints on things, just you could be talking, I mean, yeah, a lot of things have been done over and over again, but each person has their own little twist to it or something else that might resonate with somebody new or somebody that may have done research on the topic that, hey, they didn't think of that, unique viewpoint on it.
Yeah, Brian, can I? Oh, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to cut you off, Svi. Yeah, Brian, I mean, I spoke at Recon Village at DEF CON this year, and I, went into that, thinking like, okay, I'm in this room full of all these like super great people. What do I have to say that they don't already know? Well, it turns out that there were things that they didn't know. I had somebody come up to me afterwards, and I'm blanking on who the person is, but it's probably for the best since I didn't clear it with them to mention their name, but someone who's very well known for OSINT. And this person said to me, I learned, one thing, like just, it was said in a nicer way. I'm realizing now that sounded kind of rude the way I said it, but when they said it to me, it was very positive because I think I made the self-deprecating comment of like, oh, I'm sure you didn't, you were bored or something like that. And it was like, no, there was something you pointed out that I didn't know. And I came away from this learning one new thing, and that thing is really great. So yeah, I mean, again, let the proposal board decide. And Amanda's right. I mean, you add your own, you salt your own CFP. You're going to add your own unique thing to it, and it'll resonate with someone. You'll even if somebody learns one thing from it, that's something that they didn't know before. So if it is something that you want to do, go for it. I mean, I gave talks even before I had an infosec job, and I gave those research talks, and people kept coming up to me afterwards saying how much they learned and they didn't know stuff, and and as Amanda mentioned earlier, it leads to other things. All these talks that I've given, and now I get to go to South Africa because I have this track record of giving talks and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So two quick points that come to mind. One is, even if you're covering ground that someone else has already covered, you may be the one that covers it in such a way that someone else that didn't understand the previous work gets, right? So you may cover it a different way. You may do it at a different level, or maybe you're just more approachable than the last person or whatever. And you made a comment before about dropping or you writing tools or whatever. I go to conferences not to find out about the latest tool drops. I go there to find out how to defend my systems, because that's what I got to do all day long. And I'd rather hear defensive talks about, how I protected myself against the bad guys or the red team that I hired or whatever, than hear about the latest version of Mimikatz.
Okay.
Yeah. And just to hit one more thing on that, it could be the anecdotes you use. It could be the memes you use. It could just be, your approachability.
It's all about the memes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it just depends on how you convey it. I mean, you might not be the person for that topic, but you could be that person for someone else. So just the anecdotes alone could do it.
Okay. Well, I hope, if I don't submit anything, then somebody else will be listening to this and go, yeah, sounds like it can be done. So, yeah.
I hope you do, man, because that velvety voice of yours just melts.
Okay, calm yourself now.
He
You just got something all over the webcam, and
He looks so sincere too.
As long as there's pralines involved.
Oh yes, it's pralines. It's with the cat.
It's praline.
Actually, it's glazed
Praline.
pecans, but it's not the same thing. So yeah.
Is it pecans or pecans?
It's a pecan.
Pecan, yeah.
A pecan is something you keep underneath the bed if you can't make it to the toilet.
Hey,
Oh,
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
I apologize for all the people in Georgia who call it pecan, or so.
It's a peckin.
Pecking.
Well, Joe's actually you're in the Atlanta area, so you should be able to tell us.
Well, I used to be in the Atlanta area. Now I'm in Appalachia. I'm in East Tennessee now, so I'm speaking with the native accent right now. But they do say pecans, if I recall correctly. But I like to annoy them and be like, "Hey, I want some butter pecan ice cream."
Oh my God!
And they're like, "What?
What's a pecking?
Butter pecan."
You are the wrong ambassador for Eastern Tennessee. So, all right. So a lot of people are fading here. They're turning into pumpkins because it's almost midnight for some.
Pumpkin pie.
Get off my lawn.
So I think we'll probably start.
Matlock. Sorry.
Yeah, Matlock is over. Matlock is over.
Matlock. I was gonna. You're giving them more credit than they're due. I was gonna say Wheel of Fortune just went off.
Oh yeah, Jeopardy just went off for me. It's only 8:00 here, so in Pacific Northwest. So I'm going to start at the bottom, relative to me. So Joe, tell people where they would be able to get to listen to your show if they're looking for you.
I'm on all the fine podcasting platforms. The title is Advanced Persistent Security. You can find it on the website, advancedpersistentsecurity.net, all one word. I'm on Twitter at C_3PJoe. You can also find me on Peerlist, something really quick that we're launching next year. It's a mentorship program from a technical perspective. So basically, you can learn hardening, monitoring, pen test, incident response, all the above on what we're calling the range. The project is called Through the Hacking Glass. It is official through Peerlist, so PEERLYST.com. I'm also on there. So look forward to that next year. We're working up with 5 different levels right now and working on getting it off the ground.
Very cool. All right.
Yeah. And my phone number is 8675309. You choose the area.
All right.
867.
Doesn't matter the area code. Just pick any.
I have that number for every single area code.
Oh wow. Boy, you are diligent in your studies.
Indeed.
So John, please tell people how they'd get a hold of you. I'm going this way. So John.
Yeah. Cool. So people can find me on Twitter. I'm at John's Not Here. The podcast Purple Squad Security. You can go to purplesquadsec.com and you can find links to all the major things if you can't find it on the usual podcast catchers, as the youngins call it. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Cool. Danny?
Yeah, so anybody who might follow me knows I'm an absolute Twitter whore. So it's at I love it so much. It's like my lifeblood.
The shit poster of the gods.
No, that's Tony.
That's Tony.
I'll
Tony's
never reach his
professional
level,
shit
man. He's my spirit animal. When it comes to my shit posting spirit animal. At DAKACKI, because when I made my Twitter, I wasn't elite enough to have a cool handle.
I'm not either, dude.
No. And as far as the podcast, you can get us at Rally Security, twitch.tv/Rally Security, youtube.com/Rally Security. We are live every Tuesday at 7. And by all means, please, if you are having issues this holiday season, they do tend to ramp up. It's infosanity.org, at infosanity.org, and we have a Slack channel and it's proved helpful for a lot of people. So if you're having a tough time, above all else, besides everything else that I'm doing, just check out InfoSanity. If you want an invite, DM me or DM the InfoSanity org account, and we'll shoot you an invite right over. We don't have open invites because we don't want bots and trolls and shit, but we're there, and it's just people that are listening. No professional therapists, but we listen to each other. So InfoSanity.org.
Okay, Miss Tracy.
I can be reached on the Twitters at infosec Sherpa, and I'm also available for bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, podcasts, and But yes, I am on the Twitters frequently, so please hit me up at infosec Sherpa.
Right on. All right, Nate.
You can find me at Gangrif, Gangrif. It's not that cool. It's an old D&D handle. And the podcast is at Iron Sysadmin. We also stream via YouTube. We go the live route when we record. So every other Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, you can find us on YouTube.
Cool.
IronSysadmin.com.
Very nice.
DEFCON 610.
Then DEFCON 610. Sorry.
DEFCON 610. All right. Last but not least, Ms. Berlin.
I thought you were last.
I will be last.
Oh, okay.
But I'm least. So.
All right. You can find me at InfoSyster, INFOSYSTIR on Twitter, and we have our awesome BreakSec Slack channel. And I don't know the link. You just have to ask on Twitter or something.
It's so awesome.
Changes randomly. I don't know, but it's really active and it's great, and we do things and stuff.
Cool.
By the way, John's really funny right now because he's gotten darker and darker throughout this.
I know.
I was just going to say that. He's just getting darker.
Yep.
He started out just sort of a silhouette. Now it's just like black with the outline of a headset.
Embrace your hate.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Or you can come visit me in Ohio.
Okay.
Because my address is online.
That is true.
Nobody does.
So last and definitely do not the podcast I do, BreakSec, is a labor of love.
Awesome.
Mr. Betcher sadly could not join us tonight. He was having dinner at the time. He eats very late, and I couldn't do the podcast without him and Ms. Berlin, of course, who joined us at the beginning of last year. We are at BreakSec on Twitter, BRAKESEC. Yes, it is spelled BRAKESEC, and it is the Breaking Down Security Podcast because my last name is Break.
Why'd you spell it wrong?
When I was picking out names, it was either Adrift in the Security Sea or BreakSec. And I was like, well, I should probably use my last name because it can be actually used for something finally. So other than giving it to my wife. Yes, we are on Slack, a very active Slack. If you are interested in, all kinds of things, reverse engineering, DFIR, pen testing, we have a book club. We're doing a CTF club, that's going to start back up in a couple of weeks in conjunction with our book club doing the Metasploitable VM. We're doing some training after the first of the year. Miss Berlin's going to do her killing the cyber chain, cyber somethings after the first of the year. We also have a gentleman who runs by the name of MS Administrator. He talked at DerbyCon about lateral movement in your environment. So he's going to do some classes hopefully for us about that. So you can follow me on Twitter at Brian Break. I too I'm not cool enough to have my own cool hacker handle. So it's BRYAN, BRAKE. Mr. Betcher, you can find him at BetcherPwned, BOETTCHERPWNED. He also does LogMD, which is a nice application that can be used to help lock down your Windows logging configurations and help detect malware.
I hear they're a great podcast sponsor.
Well, let's hope so. Go ahead, Danny.
No, I would just like, before we close out, I want to reiterate how awesome it has. One of the highlights of my year has been getting to know BreakSec, to know you, to be on your show. And anybody who's watching this right now, make no mistake, Brian is the best of us. Even in our private conversations with him and I've actually come to him with a few different things, and we bounce ideas and stuff like that. And I just find you to be a lovely human being, and you do so much good with BreakSec. Everybody here with all their podcasts except for ours, we don't fucking do anything. Just me, Tony, and Ben, and Oscar, and Bats just yelling at each other and our guests.
I don't do anything. I'm serious.
You are. Shut up. Just shut the fuck up. You are
crying like a little bitch over here.
Stop talking.
You're a genuine fucking human, and I appreciate you and your show, and I'm happy to call you a friend. So I want that on record. And don't you forget that either.
One of our best shows was probably you and Miss Megan coming on talking.
Shaw, it's all about you.
No,
man.
it was
Don't you
definitely
edit
top
it.
5 for us this year. It was definitely something that needs to be talked about, and mental illness does run a lot in the infosec community, and depression, and we need to talk about that and make it more. So I'm glad we talked about that.
Don't take the focus off of you, sir.
Shut up, sir. So
Anyway, I'm done now.
we need to get out.
I love you.
Before we go, one last thing I want to say to Andrew, our friend over at Defensive Security, that our condolences for the loss of your family member, and just remember we're all there for you, sir. So for Breaking Down Security, Iron Sysadmin,
Sysadmin. It's not that complicated.
RallySec, Purple Sec podcast, and I'm going to screw everybody up. I'm sorry. So everybody,
Danny's fault.
Yeah, it's Danny's fault. So have a great holiday. Have a great rest of your year. Please listen to some podcasts in 2018, and have a great rest of your year. And we'll talk to y'all again soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
See you.
Cheerio.
All right.